Hi, this is Jillian with Jam with Jilly. Um, I'm looking a little rough today. I just got out of yoga class, so you don't need to see my face, I promise. So tonight I'm going to show you a quick application. I'm going to be putting on some new nails. We have a Jamberry Summit coming up on Monday, so I want to look all spiffy. Right now I'm just going to show you one nail, and that's just to save time. I'll go ahead and go through all the steps and all the fun tips and tricks on this one nail so you can kind of get an idea. So the first thing we want to do is prep the nail. I've done this with everything but the one nail I'm going to show you guys from start to finish. So in front of me I have everything I need. I did have our strengthening top coat on, or base coat rather, so I did use my trusty nail polish remover to get that off. The Jamberry lacquer remover is awesome too, but I usually just use that to remove my wraps. After that, what we're going to do is prep the actual nail surface. So you're going to get a cuticle pusher. I like these little rubber ones. They work really well. And you're just going to kind of gently push back your cuticles. You don't want to do it real hard. It shouldn't hurt or anything. You just kind of want to move them back. And then at that point, you're going to look for what's called an invisible cuticle. So they're almost impossible to see, hence the term invisible cuticle. But I'll show you, I probably have a little bit on here. So as you can see, I'm just kind of scraping along the cuticle line and around the sides, and it's really hard to see, but you can kind of see where I'm pulling up a little bit of white, and that's just basically dead skin attached to the nail surface. You can see a little bit on there. So I want to scrape that off. The main reason for this is that if the nail wrap itself isn't touching nail surface, it isn't going to stick. So one of the few things that will actually do your wraps in is if you have a ton of invisible cuticle and they're sitting on that instead of your actual nail bed. You want a real tight seal on the nail bed. And what that does is help make sure they're waterproof and nothing's getting under there. So the next step is very important. Now, if I was going to buff my nails, I would go ahead and buff them now. I do one of these cute little Jamberry buffers. And I would just lightly buff, especially if you did have some invisible cuticle, just to make sure it's nice and smooth. Now, the next step I've already done on all these nails, and since I'm just touching up the one, I'm going to skip it, but I'm going to definitely make sure you guys know what it is. And that is my trusty friend Dawn here. You want to get some Dawn. You actually don't want to get the hand renewal. This is just me reusing a bottle. You want to get a good Dawn. And the reason is it's got degreasers in it. So it's going to actually take off all those nail oils that are on your nail and make it easier for the nail wrap to actually stick to your nail. So give them a good scrub. And then at this point, you have a couple options. You can either use your nail polish remover, or you can use alcohol, rubbing alcohol, or I have these alcohol prep pads. Nothing special. And you can use this to remove whatever remaining oil is on there and clean the nail bed. So let's go ahead and pull that out. For the nail itself, I don't really worry about filing a smooth edge when I'm doing a wrap directly on the nail. And that's because at the end of putting on the wrap, we're actually going to file downward. However, if you do want to straighten them up, make all your nails the same length, you can do that before you start. I have heard of a couple people too, instead of filing off the nail edge, they'll actually trim the nail after they put the wrap on, and then just file it to make it smooth. So you have some options. Mine are close to the same size, so right now I'm not really worried about that. I can tweak a little bit when I go ahead and file down. I'm prepping all my nails because I am going to do them all, but I'm going to do a true shine layer on them, except for this one. It's going to be a full wrap. So in order to not have this video last forever, we're going to do that. Okay. So now one of my favorite tips that we have is to make sure you get the right size wrap. So this is the tape trick. So what I'm going to do is take some Scotch tape. Magic tape works the best because it's easiest to write on. And you're going to go ahead and put that on the finger that you're going to do. I usually will go ahead and size all of my wraps before I start. However, some people do prefer to do each nail from start to finish. Alright, so I have tape on my finger. You see that there? Nothing fancy. And I'm just going to outline the edges of my fingernail, basically where my nail bed ends and my finger begins. So you can kind of see that. It's just basically a stencil. So now when I take off the tape, you'll see it's got an outline of my nail on it. So I already know which one I'm going to use, but for demonstration purposes, let's say I was going to use this wrap. This is a portion of a sheet of wrap, so there's actually quite a few more than this when you get a full sheet. And I'm going to take my stencil and I'm going to line it up on the back. So on this one, it would be about this one. So I'm not quite lined up, but you can see for the most part the wrap is actually on the inside of the line around my finger. That's good. You actually want to go small rather than big. And the main reasoning for that is going to be that tight seal. If you have too big of a wrap, it's actually going to sit on the edges of your finger or not go flat on the nail bed. And at that point, you're not going to have a watertight seal, and nobody wants their wraps falling off early. You should be able to get about 2 weeks out of each set. And if you're not, let me know. I can help you. So now, in order to put these on, and this is the one I'm doing on this one nail. It's hard to see in my camera, but it's nice and sparkly. It's got hearts on it. These are the American Heart Association wraps. Oh, you kind of saw a sparkle there for a second. Okay. So I'll turn on my heater. It's only going to take about 10 seconds for the heater to get heated up. This is what it looks like. And here it's pretty quiet. If you use a blow dryer, it's going to be a little bit louder and it's not going to be as hands-free. This thing actually has a little kickstand, so I don't have to hold it in place the whole time. So while that gets hot, I'm going to go ahead and remove the wrap. Now in order to do this, what I'm going to do is gently peel back the edge. I'm going to try not to touch the sticky side of the wrap. Instead, what I do is once I get that edge kind of peeled up a little bit, is I go in here with my cuticle pusher and use the back of it, which of course, since I'm on tape, this one's going to take a second. Oh, I felt it going. And all it is a clear plastic backing. I'm going to cheat a little. This one's extra long, so if I do touch the edge over here a little bit, it's not going to ruin the entire wrap or anything. Okay. So I've pulled out the corner. You can actually kind of see where I'm pulling it off. And alright, so there's my wrap. It's on my cuticle pusher. Let's pull this heater forward so you guys can see it a little better. Since he's the star of the show right now. Okay. Let's just do this a little bit. Okay, so there's my heater. I'm not going to heat up the wrap very long, just long enough for it to get warm. And you'll be able to kind of see it curl a little bit as I hold it. So I'm going to say about 5 seconds. Not even. So now what I'm going to do is put it down at the base of my nail. Move him so you guys can see me. And let's make sure you can see that now. So you kind of want to do this a little bit quicker just so that you can get it on there while it's nice and hot and pliable. So you can see I didn't actually push it all the way down. But what I'm going to do is make sure it's nice and even. Make sure it's going to cover both sides. I don't need to reposition it. I do see where it's a little bit off So we're just going to pull it up a little bit. Until you actually apply pressure, you have the flexibility to do this, which is really nice because we're not perfect. So all I'm going to push down right now is the very center. And then I'm going to give this nail another couple seconds in the heater, about the same as the first time. I'm just going to roll the nail in front. And then as I'm pushing in the center, I'm going to go ahead and do the very back. So if you can see where I am, I'm up by the cuticle, pushing in. And then I'm going to take the edge and I'm going to slightly pull on it. And what pulling on that does is it straightens out those sides. And that way when I go to push these down, there's a lot less chance I'm going to get bubbles or creases. So, and as you can see, I'm going straight down the center and then working the sides from the cuticle towards the tip of the nail. And then I'm going to go ahead and do it on the other side. You want to push down real hard. And then I usually go ahead and pull a little bit more, make sure if I got any bubbles in there, I pulled them out. And then I'm going to give it one quick shot of heat. And then just go right back over it with a lot of pressure. That's why these rubber cuticle pushers are good. You can push down, you're not hurting yourself, but you're getting a real good seal on your wrap. Alright, so before we put the next one on, you want to let it cool a few seconds, just so that it starts to harden back up and cure. They're good to go right after. You just don't want to soak in any kind of water the same night. I usually take my shower, put these on, and then by the morning they're nice and cured and I don't have to worry about them. I've only lost one once, so really they have some great staying power. So as I pull that down, you can kind of see where my nail edge is. So now what I was saying when we were going to file them, I'm going to take the file and I'm actually going to go just about straight down, just barely going into the nail a little bit. And then once I file this off, which this you do want to apply a decent amount of pressure. That's why you want to go straight down so you're not chewing up your nail bed. And you can see it's starting to come apart. So it looks like just my edges there hanging on a little bit. Essentially what I've done is filed against the nail wrap, so that's pushing on the nail and breaking off. So now we're good with that. All I'm going to do, and what I do now is I'm going to file it more of an angle. And the reason being is that's going to leave a sliver of nail right here showing. And I want that because what that's going to do is help prevent me pulling it in my hair or getting pulled up if I'm scratching on something. I bartend, so I use my nails all the time as a tool. So basically I'm going to first make sure I get in those edges real good, nothing's flapping over. And then now I'm going to do this. And this I do a little bit lighter. It's just basically to buff the edge a little bit. Make sure it looks nice and smooth and even. Just a little piece on the edge. Stick it out a little bit farther than the rest. Okay, we're good. Now, when I do this myself, it doesn't take nearly as long. I can usually get a full set done in like 20 minutes or so. But for this, I got to explain to you guys what to do. If you're wondering more about the rest of the stuff, the cuticle pushers are the wooden sticks I use when I do my True Shine. That's our at-home gel system. And I'm going to go ahead and do my other nail just like this, and then my True Shine, and you'll see the results later. But I thank you for watching me. If you have any questions or run into any issues with your Jamberry nails, just let me know. I'm more than willing to help you. I want to make sure everyone gets a really great application because you're not going to love them unless they look amazing, and you definitely have the potential for some really great nails. So have fun. Happy jamming.